You are listening to the CWL podcast. Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Kate. I am the host of the Creative Women's League podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another wonderful Wednesday episode. We have 2 episodes every week, and this is our Wednesday episode. I'm going to quit saying the word episode eventually, I promise. But today we get to talk to a new creative badass. And then, of course, on Mondays, we do a Mindful Monday, just a quick episode. Oh, I said it again. Where we do like 10 minutes together, bring up a topic, hash it out as friends, get our minds right for the week. It's pretty awesome. Thank you so much to everybody for all your support over the past few weeks. I went out to Chicago, Aurora to be more specific, and I hung out with Bernina doing training for their upcoming events over the fall. That's going to be awesome. I can't share a damn thing with you about it, but trust me, when these classes hit this September, you will want to find your local Bernina dealer. It's amazing. And I am going to be traveling to a city near you to teach classes. So whether you come join me in the class or we do a CWL meetup in your city, I really hope to meet you. So how would you know where I am going to be? Well, of course, you're going to head over to the Instagram at Creative Women's League on Instagram, or you can join us in the Facebook group. You just search Creative Women's League on Facebook, and there we are. I hope to see you all over there. I love to get to know each and every one of you. It is the best part of the CWL. You see, at the CWL, it is all about motivation, inspiration, know-how, and community. And I forgot to tell you, the blog, we talked about this last week on the episode with Kim, but the blog launches June 1st. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, the blog will be launching on Friday. And I am so excited. I cannot wait to be blogging with you guys. If you would like to contribute to the Creative Women's League blog, go to thecwl.com. And from there, you can check out how you can get involved in the CWL blog. Now, you know that every Wednesday episode, I read a review from a listener. Leaving reviews on podcasts is one of the best ways that you can help that little podcast or that big podcast grow. I appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to leave a review. I know it takes a little bit of time to do so. It's just a couple minutes and it means the world to me. So I give you a shout out for doing it. So this week's review reads, "Great podcast. 5 stars. Loaded with advice and inspiration for creative women in a variety of fields. Charming, well-spoken hostess. Highly recommended." And that is actually from Stitch of Whimsy. Sarah Lee was on the podcast about 2 episodes ago. Go check out her episode. It is amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your review. I hope to be reading out your review and giving you a shout out on next week's episode. So I'm so excited about today's episode. I got to talk with Asma. She is the creative genius who is only like 40 posts in to a extremely successful Instagram. We get to talk race, religion, bigotry, and of course, creativity. This awesome outlet that she has somewhat stumbled upon has not only helped her express her feelings, but has helped so many people feel catharsis in feeling that their experiences are shared. It's a fantastic episode. I will shut up so that you get to listen to Asma. Hello, Asma. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. So you're over in London.
Yeah.
I love it. I think we need to do a London meetup of the Creative Women's League because we've talked to a few people over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be so fun.
Yeah, it'd be so fun, right? Get all us creative ladies together. It's really just an excuse for me to visit London for the first time. But you haven't been to the States, right?
No, I haven't. I really want to. But I just haven't had the chance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still kind of young, so...
How young are
I'm
you?
going through the whole... I'm 21.
Oh, you are very young. I love it.
I'm going through the whole, like, broke student phase, so I can't really get out much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really, we should have a meetup over here and just make it happen that you can come to it, too.
Oh, that would be so fun, yeah.
Yeah, so you can do your Great American Road Trip.
Yeah.
The funny thing is I've heard from so many people from other countries who like really have this idea, like they want to come do a big road trip across America, and they can be really fun, but they can also be pretty awful.
Why awful?
You're stuck in well, first off, okay, you have to choose a good person to go with.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, because traveling is like hard to do, and you might kill somebody. So,
whoa,
yeah, you like because you have to be stuck in a car with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you have to be stuck in a car with them. It freaks. I've wanted to rip people's heads off just because we're sitting in a car together for so long.
I think the longest road trip I've been on is about maybe 4 hours.
Oh, that's a decent size, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did you road trip to?
Up to a place called Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard of it?
Yeah. Well, we briefly discussed before hitting record how I used to be obsessed with England, and I had decided at one point that I was going to move to Manchester.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the Manchester before.
Yeah.
It's like the other major city in the UK.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like a cultural capital as well. So.
Oh, is it?
But I hate the accent, so I'd never move there.
Yeah. Perfect. I've always wanted to perfect my ability to discern the different British accents, but there's like 8 bazillion of them.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy how we're such a small island, but we have like 1 million accents, and they all sound so different from each other.
So different. And then I'll be like, well, I think that's Sheffield, and they'll be like, no, that's not it at all. I'm like, well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm getting better at distinguishing the accents, but there's just too many. Like, I can't know all of them.
Well, there's like 4 in London alone, right?
Only 4?
Maybe
Wait, do
not.
you know
Maybe like 10.
They would be?
No,
like, there's the Cockney. There's like the Cockney accent. There's what I would call the roadman accent, which is like the youth who hang out on the streets.
Oh, okay.
Which is
like
sometimes
chavs?
how I talk. No, chavs is like, that's like their own thing.
Oh,
so I guess, there's chavs, there's roadmen, there's Cockney geezers, there's like the upper class, like posh kind of English speakers. I don't know, I think there are more than 4.
We'll have to have Creative Women's League will have a class on the different British accents, and you'll have to teach it.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be hilarious, because Americans or just people from other parts of the world, they really struggle to do British accents.
Oh, yes.
It comes out Australian, or, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem that hard, because I feel like anyone can do an American accent, but...
Really?
People, yeah.
I love hearing, like, my favorite part of the Avengers movies is listening to Benedict Cumberbatch do his American accent, because he actually does a really good job at it. So I'm just entranced the whole time, like, oh.
Actually, I love the way he speaks. He's such a good speaker. Oh my god.
That's very true.
Like, I've heard him narrate books, and it's just... That's a good voice.
We're going to have like a whole nother podcast episode of you and I just talking about like different dialects and accents and people's voices.
And I just get you to just say the weirdest British things in British accents.
Perfect. So before we get to chatting about your awesome journey, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay. So my name is Asma. I am a 21-year-old university student, and I identify as a British Pakistani Muslim woman.
And this has influenced your art in huge ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my identity is like a huge part of me, because generally speaking, the fact that I live in England, which is a predominantly white Christian country, the fact that I'm like a different color and I'm very visibly Muslim, I feel like it definitely affects the way that I'm treated and the way that I perceive myself. So yeah, it's a huge part of my identity.
And so before we discuss that, because I definitely want to talk lots about that, have you always just been like a creative person? Were you always an artist?
Yeah, I've been drawing from a young age. Like I never really did anything with my art. Like I just kind of draw at home, and I remember I made these like dumb little comics in school when I was like 14 or 15. They were so bad, like really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it was just something I did for fun, like in my science lessons and stuff. But yeah, I never really did anything with my art. It was just a bit of fun. And then I stopped drawing completely for years. And actually, the first time I started drawing again, if you go to my Instagram, the first post there, that's literally the first thing I drew in years.
Wow. So how long ago was that then?
What, my first post?
Yeah.
That was back in September of last year.
Oh my, are you serious?
Yeah. So what is it now? We're in, it's May now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a handful of months.
Yeah, we're talking like, I don't know, like 9 months or so, right?
I just counted 8 months.
Yeah, you did better counting that. So that's phenomenal, because you've had an amazing reaction on Instagram.
Yeah, crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. Because I just posted again today. I hardly post, and I hit 40 posts, which is not really anything.
I didn't even realize that, Asma. That's amazing.
It's actually crazy. Like I don't really think about it, but it's just until someone else says, "Wow, you don't even like." Other people have to point out how crazy it is that so many people are engaging and responding to everything that I'm posting, and I don't know. I think it's amazing. It's amazing.
Really is. So, are you? Was this something you just picked back up because it's something, you found interest in again? Are you studying it at school?
No, I'm not. I'm actually studying an English degree at university. So I'm more into like academia and reading and writing, that kind of thing. I think the reason I stopped drawing for such a long time was because I kind of didn't really see the point. Like there just seemed to be something else that I was more interested in doing. Like, I don't know, binge watching shows or reading or I don't know what, like there was always something else that I thought, okay, I'd get more out of it than drawing. So I just didn't draw for a long time. But then when I started my Instagram and I started Islamic, I guess, I don't know, I just saw the chance to combine my old love for art with this desire that I have to kind of speak out in terms of my identity and social issues and all that kind of thing. So I don't know, I just it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I don't know why I specifically started it a few months ago. Yeah, here I am.
I think it's so I'm speechless over here because I do so much research, right? I do so much research, and one of the things I've scrolled down into your feed a little. I guess I just assumed that it wasn't loading. I didn't even look up and see that you only have 40 posts. So, yeah, right? I'm like, what an idiot, Kate. But anyway, I don't think that anybody would ever get that from you, though, because your style is it's so sophisticated. It's so polished. You have very much your own style. Was this something that you had just kind of developed on your own? Like, there clearly wasn't years of developing this very unique style you have.
It's so weird that you would say that. Like, you would say that it's a unique style, because I actually think my art style is so generic. Like, I feel like I haven't put any thought into it. Like, I dread the questions people ask me about my art style because I feel like I don't have one. Like, I see...
No.
yeah, no, I see cartoons like I don't know, like, you know how in The Simpsons or in Rick and Morty or whatever, they have like those big cartoon eyes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And then after that, after I draw the big eyes, it's just trying to make the bodies look human. Like, I really don't know what to say. Like, I didn't develop a style. Like, I feel like I didn't really put much thought into it. And it does bother me sometimes because I feel like, you know, there are so many great artists, comic artists I follow on Instagram, and they all have like a very distinct style. And, you know, I kind of want that for myself. But I think since I started Islamic, I've been kind of more preoccupied with the content and, you know, the writing and the messages rather than the art or like how I'm presenting it in terms of like aesthetic. So,
yeah. That is it's super interesting to hear. I think that if I saw your comic, like 1,000 different pictures, right? And then your comic was one in there. I'd be able to point it out right away and be like, oh.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
that
absolutely.
Makes me good.
So how
That's
did you...
really nice.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. That's so funny to hear you. Isn't it funny how we view ourselves versus how other people view us? Like there's always like a total gap in those things, I think.
Yeah. I mean, other people, I do get a lot of people who ask me about my style, and often, like, if a journalist interviews me or something about this work, they always have these style questions. And so obviously they're seeing something distinct.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of my followers, they ask for like tutorials. So they want to know, like, how do I draw like you? And at the same time, there are other people who, like me, see how generic this is. And like, I don't know, like a lot of these people, they're trying to be mean. And like trying to take a dig at me, and you know, they just like leave these kind of sarcastic or passive aggressive comments like, oh, I can see where they got their style from, and you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, forget that.
I kind of agree though. Like I'm not saying that like I'm copying anyone, it's just thoughtless. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it's just, I feel I'm going to go ahead and interject this and you can tell me what you think about it. Okay. I feel like maybe it's just so innately you. Like, I've watched The Simpsons and Family Guy. Like, I could see where it's got a style similar to that, but I couldn't draw that. And I draw, but I couldn't sit down and just innately draw these cute characters with the big eyes and the pursed lips and like, it just doesn't, I just feel like maybe how you draw and the things that you're doing are just so innately you that it just kind of popped out of you one September day.
Well, that's a nice way of looking at it. Yeah, maybe I'm being too hard on myself. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to be critical of your work. So I do definitely kind of want to not feel proud of my work, but I don't know. Like I want to feel like I've put more into it than I feel I have right now. So
yeah. Well, yeah, and clearly people are responding. So how did you get into digital painting? Was it something you always did, or?
I mean, I remember I don't know if you know about those drawing tablets, you know, the things you connect to your computer with a little pen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I had one of those a few years ago, and I did do some digital art, and I don't know, maybe I was just inspired by some art that I saw on like social media, like, wow, that looks really cool and I want to try that. But as for Islamic being completely digital, I actually, okay, confession, it's gonna make me sound really unprofessional, but I draw everything on my phone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I have a Note 4, so it's kind of like a big phone, and it comes with like a little pen, a little stylus, and yeah, I draw on my phone, so like on this tiny screen. And I guess like I just do it that way because it's convenient. You know, I carry my phone with me everywhere I go. So
that is really cool. I am a huge advocate of just using what you have to your advantage, because I talk to so many creative women who are like, yeah, but I have to get that drawing tablet and that's, a few $100s. And
I'm still one of those people.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Like, I want to get those really expensive drawing tablets. They look amazing. They look so fun and so convenient. Like, I feel like I could push out a lot more content if I had one of those, because it's just really slow and kind of difficult to draw everything on your phone.
Yeah. But you're killing it with it. Like, you're using the tools that are available to you and you're kicking butt. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Because I am, like I said, I really like to draw, but I cannot get over that hump to get onto, like, digital drawings. I just can't. Maybe I need a Note 4. Maybe that's what I need.
Well, what kind of tools do you use to draw? Is it like pencils or paint?
Yeah, like pencils.
I think you'd love digital art. You would love it. I think it's really awkward if you buy a tablet and then you're like trying to draw on the tablet and looking up at your screen.
True.
Like it might be a bit awkward. But if you get one of those, if you got a phone like mine and you were drawing directly on the screen, or if you got like one of those expensive tablets with a pen, or if you even drew on an iPad, if you have an iPad.
Yeah.
It would actually, it's because it's like drawing with a pencil and paper, except you get all these like cool little perks where you get to like undo things and like rescale things. It's so convenient.
I love it. And yeah, I think that maybe I just need to branch out and grow up. It's time to grow up.
Oh, definitely. I think you'd love it. It's really, really convenient. So you should definitely try it.
So when you started your Instagram, I'm guessing that was from 0 followers.
Yeah.
What happened? When did it start to blow up for you and really become the thing that it is now?
It's such a blur because I feel like I mean, I'm already over 30,000 followers, which is crazy growth. And it feels like it's just all been a constant. Like, I genuinely don't know. When I posted my first illustration, I might have used hashtags.
Okay.
I don't know what I tagged, like maybe hashtag Muslim art or hashtag hijab or I don't know what. But I actually remember my first ever shout out. It was a tiny account with like 100 followers. It was a fellow Muslim comic artist, and that just made me so happy. Like, I know they didn't have a big following, and I probably gained like 2 followers, but
it's huge, yeah.
Yeah. But I honestly, genuinely, I can't say what happened because I know that a lot of people. I hope this doesn't make me sound like big-headed or anything, but I know that a lot of people, especially other comic artists, they use like a lot of these kind of techniques to draw attention to their account. So like they'll use specific hashtags, they'll post at certain times of the day, they'll do like collaborations and all that kind of thing, which is great. But I never did any of that. So I genuinely don't know what happened and why it grew. Because I feel like I didn't employ some kind of strategy. Like, it just happened.
Yeah, and this is something we actually talk about on the podcast a lot. Like, people have so much information now, right? About the perfect time to post and how many hashtags they should be using. And, just all this, it's almost too much information that we have on how Instagram is supposed to work and how we're supposed to get Instagram famous. But nothing beats just like being yourself, posting these things that connect with people and just kind of going for it. And I don't think I think it's really awesome that it just happened for you, that you didn't have to employ 1,000 different tactics and you weren't worrying about the algorithm and what time of day you should post. It was just really organic for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a great experience for me. I don't actually, I don't see anything wrong with kind of marketing your account and doing all those little things to try and get more people to see your work. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but I've just never, like, honestly, when I started the account, it was just kind of like a platform for me to say what I want to say. I wasn't trying to be like a voice for all Muslims. Like, it's just my voice. Like, I'm just speaking about things that matter to me. So I wasn't trying to be like a public figure or like get Instagram famous, which is why I didn't do any of that stuff. But yeah, the reaction, it's been amazing.
Yeah. Well, in the first post, to describe it to people, it's a Muslim woman on a skateboard, and she's given the rock on sign, doing some awesome trick with rainbow flying out the back, and it says Radical Islam. And it's so, with, of course, the awesome sunglasses. So it's so cute, and I feel like it's so just unique right from the first post.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I have a kind of niche, I guess, which is like, I'm just the annoyed Muslim woman in the West. Like, I'm just kind of fed up. Like, I've got that kind of British sense of humor where I'm just kind of sarcastic and like, I just like to make jokes out of everything. Like, even that's not to say I make light of like serious issues, because I do tackle a lot of serious things on my account, and there's always like loads of arguments under my posts and everything. But yeah, I think people have just liked the fact that, with the kind of rise of Islamophobia and all this stigma surrounding Muslims and Islam, I think it's just kind of fun to see a Muslim's take on that in like a humorous kind of way, just keeping things lighthearted and fun. So yeah, I think probably that's why people have been reacting so well to this.
Yeah. And it has, I mean, I am a white woman in America, but the second I saw it, I was like, wow, this feels important, because I don't know what that's like. So I took, I was trying to take the time and read the different comics and the points of the comics, and so much representation going on. So it was really interesting. It's very clear that you've struck a chord with the Muslim community, who feels like, oh my God, she gets it. Right? Like, saying the things that I was feeling, which is awesome. But then introducing people like me who have no idea what it's like.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing, by the way. I really, really, really appreciate the fact that there are people like you who don't know anything about Muslims, or even like the experiences of minorities in general, and like you still take the time to listen and to learn. Like, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's super important to listen to what other people are saying. And not that I'm going to put one type of people above another, but I always want to listen to what creative women are saying. I always want to be like, oh, if a creative woman has this and she's got to get it out and she's, speaking it to the world, I think it's so important that we listen to creative women.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like the groups of people who kind of have like opportunities taken away from them, I think it's important that when, one of them rises to the occasion and, they're speaking out and they're speaking with their own voice, then yeah, it's really important to listen to what they're saying from their own mouths instead of from the mouths of others who don't really identify with their experiences.
Yeah, because I can listen to, hashtags like I'll ride with you and things like that, and I can hear it on the news, but that's not coming from an honest source, right? It's not coming from the people who are experiencing it every day.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
and it's like, I get a lot of, like, it's crazy. It's actually so crazy when I post things as a Muslim person and, and they're about my experiences as a Muslim person. And then I can have like 100 other Muslims in the comments who are like, oh my God, I relate to this. This happens to me. And then there'll still always be that one person who leaves like this comment saying, I'm pretty sure this has never happened. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
And I want to talk about that for sure, because you said you were not like looking to be the voice of Muslim people or Muslim women. So what's it like when then trolls or even just like kind of crappy people come out of the woodwork? How do you deal with that?
Well, the whole point of Islamic is to kind of combat ignorance surrounding more specifically Muslims. This isn't, I wouldn't say this is like a feminist account or an account for like ethnic minorities. The main focus is the Muslim identity. So the whole point, like my agenda is to kind of combat the ignorance surrounding Islam and Muslims. And the only way to do that, I believe, is to create dialogue. So that means directly engaging with the people who comment and who leave me messages. So when I do get trolls and, or just crappy people who, leave like these horrible comments or maybe like insensitive comments that they don't realize are insensitive. Like I try to engage with everyone and, try to reply to their comments and have conversations. And I try really hard not to block people. I don't want to do that because,
wow.
Like I feel like I'm just, dialogue isn't going to be like this seamless, easy, simple thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like, it's going to be difficult and I can't just like be blocking people every time, like, they hurt my ego or, I just feel like I'm being personally attacked. Like it's so hard to not feel personally attacked. Like I try my best to be as objective as I can. And I'm like, I'm hearing you. You probably feel that way because you've got information from like this or that wrong source. So like I try and hear them out and try and have a conversation with them. But obviously, I am a person.
Yeah.
And I am quite an emotional person too.
I understand.
Like I will say now that I have never cried because of comments people have left on my account. In fact, the only times I've cried because of Islamic is when people leave like these incredibly nice comments and they really get me and I just start crying because they're just so sweet. But when it comes to like the really harsh ones, like the mean ones where they're trying to obviously like hurt you, it makes me angry. Like, I am a person. I love my religion. I don't like to see my people or my faith being insulted and, like some people take things too far. And, there's all that stuff about how, I need to take care of my emotional well-being and like my mental health. And it doesn't help, seeing all these like nasty comments and stuff directed towards me. So I have kind of like cheated a little bit. I've limited the comments on my Instagram. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not everyone can leave comments now because it was getting crazy. Like if I post something and it hits the explore page and now all these strangers are seeing my posts, like they're not even like engaging, like they're not trying to see my content or understand the message. Like as soon as they see something related to Islam or Muslims, they just leave like a nasty Islamophobic comment that's not even related to the post. And that really got to me. Like it made me so sad, just to see people like so mindlessly do these things. Like they don't even think about it. And they're literally just trying to spread hatred. I don't know if it's because they want to feel superior or I don't know if they're having issues in their own life, but whatever it is, that got really difficult to deal with. So I ended up limiting the comment section of my posts. So now only people who follow me or people who I follow can comment. So now like I don't get any more comments from strangers, which has been incredible because it's seriously cut down on the like Islamophobic comments that I get.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think most of us think that you have to have a public Instagram or a private Instagram, but that's a great way to, like you said, just curb nasty people, curb people who aren't there to hear the message or start a dialogue. They're just there to be awful, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I learned that little hack from, I don't know if you heard of Yes, I'm Hot in This.
No.
It's, oh my God, it's such an amazing account. She's also a Muslim comic artist, and she's actually based in America. I don't know where in America. I think Texas, maybe. But yeah, so she's a fellow Muslim woman comic artist, and she's actually got a huge following. I think she's at like over 100,000 now.
Yeah.
Something like that. And she had the same problem, you know, people, just random people not really engaging with the content, just leaving nasty comments and starting arguments for no reason. And yeah, so she told me, just do this, limit the comments, it'll really help. And it's worked for her as well. She said that she hardly gets any more Islamophobic comments. So yeah.
I really like the fact that you are, and I'm going to use a word that I think gets thrown around a lot, but I really like the fact that you're brave enough to engage in dialogue with people who are maybe not getting it. And I don't mean brave as a Muslim woman. I don't mean brave as a woman, but brave as a human, because that can be hard. Like, to face somebody who's just being kind of crappy towards you, or isn't getting it, or doesn't particularly want to get it. It's really interesting that you don't block people, or you try not to block people. That's got to be hard to do.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I feel like Islamic is kind of a manifestation of my faith. And, you know, it feels like I have a purpose here. And to start blocking people left, right, and center, and like, you know, insulting people and getting angry, that's just going to defeat the purpose of like what I'm trying to do. So it helps to just kind of, you know, remember why I'm doing this, and, you know, remind myself I need to be patient, and, you know, the truth will prevail and all that. So yeah, that helps. It's just, you know, the fact that this is so grounded in my personal faith, which is such a huge part of my life. That's like a huge part of what helps me to get through this, is just reminding myself, you have a purpose, you're here for a reason. So yeah, that helps. But I do, like, I wouldn't say that I am brave, because, you know, I take really long breaks from social media. Like, I don't post for weeks at a time, because sometimes I get busy with studies, or just other stuff in my personal life. But a lot of the time it's because it's so emotionally exhausting
Oh, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, like to have to read these nasty comments. And I have this really, really bad habit of, so you know how not anyone can comment on my post?
Yeah.
When another account reposts my work, I read their comments, so I can kind of see what other people are saying there, which is so bad. I shouldn't do that, because it just gets me down. Like, there's always
That's
the most
hard.
Like, I don't mean to sound harsh, but a lot of the comments are kind of idiotic.
Oh no,
like they're just they're so irrational, and just like they don't make sense, and they're just like really nasty. You know, some people do, like, you know, they leave nice comments and they ask genuine questions, which I appreciate. But, you know, there are always, you know, those few who just like go nuts in the comment section.
Just there to be mean, and like you said, spread the Islamophobia.
Yeah, and you know, I have to restrain myself, like stop myself from replying to these comments. So I'm just like, don't engage with the bigot when they're just clearly like not trying to learn anything. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I reply to them. Like, but
that's
never
such a human thing
like,
to do. Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah. Like, I don't try to be nasty. That's like a huge struggle for me. That's probably the hardest thing about Islamic, is I have to be nice to everyone. And it's not because, you know, like I have to be careful of, like, if I mess up, people are going to think all Muslims are bad. That's not really it. Like, I don't, you know how there's that whole, like, burden of representation thing where, you know, your people aren't represented enough, so people are going to judge, like, your entire group based on your actions. That's not really what makes me, like, try to be nice to everyone. Again, that's, like, something that's part of my faith. Like, I feel like I need to be patient with this person. And sometimes I fail. Like, I did this yesterday. I replied to someone who was commenting, like, leaving all these nasty comments underneath a repost of my work. And what I do is I try to reply with facts. So if they say something incorrect about Islam, like, I'll reply to them and I'll be like, no, that's wrong. Like, in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, so I had, like, a little conversation with this person who's being really horrible to me, and, like, I think my comments came off as passive aggressive because I read through them and I was like, okay, I stand by everything I'm saying here, but I think I sound a little bit arrogant. So then I apologized to the guy and then I just left it. Like, I had to say sorry to him, like, I don't mean to talk down to you, and then I just left. And it's so hard, like, that it's so difficult. Yeah, but it has to be done if I want to get anywhere.
Yeah, because I tend to be the kind of person where I mostly leave internet trolls alone. But then every now and then, you can't help it. There's somebody who you just really feel like you have to comment on these things or whatever. But it just starts to, it's like you really want to help.
Yeah,
you know? It's
exactly.
like, really?
Like, I want to help you. You seem so sad and angry at the world. Like, I want to help.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sure it is hard. The whole burden of representation thing. I can't imagine having that. I don't know if you do have that in the back of your mind very often, or if it's not something that you really let influence you so much. But I've heard that, honestly, any of the bigotry I've found from people I know at arm's length or anything, it is that kind of thing. Well, that guy was rude to me, so
yeah, I find
they're
that
all rude.
really
It's like, what?
strange. Like, I didn't think that was real. That, you know, people would just, like, for example, meet one Muslim person, and because that Muslim person was, like, really horrible to them, they're like, oh, all Muslims are like that. I didn't think that was real. Like, people actually think that, because that just seems really. That just seems irrational. It's so illogical. It doesn't make any sense. It's so silly. But yeah, I mean, I kind of I recently, this was a few days ago, I read a story. There's this like huge Instagram page. It's called Muslims of the World, and they post, like, they take submissions from Muslims and non-Muslims, and they just kind of, like, tell stories from different parts of the world. And a few days ago, I read one where a Muslim woman, she spoke about how at her university, I don't remember what she did, but I think she, like, nearly hit someone with her car, and she didn't apologize because she was late for an exam, so she just ran inside. But then she also remembered that that same person had another bad experience with a different Muslim, like, a few weeks ago. So then she suddenly thought, oh my God, if their only experiences with Muslims is bad, you know, like me being rude and, like, just not apologizing and running inside, and that other person, whatever they did to her, they're just going to think all Muslims are bad. So then she went out of her way to, like, buy a gift card and, like, seek that person out on campus. She gave them the gift card and she was like, hey, I'm sorry about the other day. I don't want you to think all Muslims are like that. And, you know, that was all, like, sweet and everything. But what was crazy, shocking to me, was that person said that they, from those two experiences they had, they genuinely thought all Muslims were like that. That shocked me. I didn't, like, I thought maybe the Muslim woman who, like, bought the gift card and everything, maybe she's just being a little bit, not paranoid, but, you know, just extremely cautious. and she had like good intentions, and she was being really sincere. And, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with her like making amends. Like, it's good that she did that. But yeah, it was shocking to me that that is genuinely what that person thought based on those two experiences. That was crazy to me. So
yeah, and it's just not, I mean, not to sound like a child in any means when we're talking about something so serious, but it's just not fair. Like, that's just bull. Do you know how many people I've met who just are kind of like, I don't have any other way to put this, and maybe it's way off base and you'll have to tell me, but Muslim people should get to be not friendly too. Do you know how many white people I've met who are not friendly? Like,
I really like that. I mean, I'm not trying to say Muslims should just, you know, not be friendly, just do whatever, because like a huge part of the Muslim identity is that Islam is a lifestyle, and it should affect the way that you interact with people, the way that you speak. Like, there's this whole thing about how you should just be intellectual, be kind, you know, be good to people. So definitely, yes, Muslims should be good to everyone. But you're so right. Like, we should
be allowed to have bad days.
Like, you know, we're human beings, you know, some of us snap sometimes, and, you know, like, we should have the right to be as crappy as the next person and not have like our entire group suffer for it.
Yeah, it shouldn't, because you're having a frustrated day and you bump into somebody and don't say I'm sorry right away because you have 1,000 things going on in your mind. It's absolutely not fair that now all Muslims have to suffer for that. That's just bull.
Yeah, it's not fair at all. But I don't know.
But I think you're doing important things. You know, you can see it in the reaction. You're clearly striking a chord with so many people, and that's just amazing. It's really freaking cool that art can do that, and your art can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a, like, I can't even explain how good it feels. Like, I don't like allow myself to think that I'm this amazing person and what I'm doing is so great and blah, blah, blah. Like, I appreciate this platform that I have and, you know, being able to connect with so many people. But yeah, it's so nice just to hear from people from like countries that I've never even heard of. I'm trying to remember the name of, it was like the Kingdom of, and then like some fantasy name, like it sounded like the land. Yeah. And you know, people from all these different countries, places I never even heard of. And, you know, they're not even all Muslim, like people who are Christian or atheist or Hindu, you know, regardless of their beliefs or their identities. Yeah, I just think it's great that they're able to connect with the stuff that I post or just enjoy it. Yeah, it's a humbling experience. It's really good.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who doesn't really have much of a religion, I'm a white lady sitting over here in the US, but the second I came across it, it felt important, and it felt like a really cool thing to have and to be able to browse and just to understand somebody else's perspective, understand what somebody else is going through, because people are either not being kind, or they aren't educated on Islam, or they just aren't paying attention to their words, whatever it is. 'Cause I think it runs the gamut. But it just felt, the second I saw it, I was like, oh man, she's doing awesome things.
That's really sweet.
You're doing awesome things. And I mean, God, who knows how far it'll go? You're only 8 months in. That's so cool.
Thank you. I think, what you're saying is important, because the whole thing about Islamic, and I have been accused of this in the past by people who don't like what I'm doing. They accuse me of pro-Muslim or pro-Islam propaganda. Like, I'm just trying to infiltrate the masses, and I'm trying to like show that, hey, Muslims are super friendly and look at these funny comics. So like, I'm trying to distract them, and then I'm trying to like make people lower their guard, and like it's
that
ridiculous.
Is really ridiculous.
But like, I just want to throw this out there. I'm not trying to convert people. I'm not, like, everyone is welcome on this account. I just like, I think it's important to expand your horizons and learn about like different cultures and lifestyles and ideologies. You don't have to agree with them, but it's important to kind of learn about them just so that you're able to coexist, you know, like live in peace with the people who like make their own choices in life. So it's really not important that people, like, I want people to accept Islam, but not like choose it as a lifestyle or necessarily agree with it. Like, you can disagree with religion or disagree with Islam, like that's none of my business, but to at least kind of acknowledge it as, you know, a lifestyle for billions of people across the world, and like make your peace with that and try to understand it, you know, that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I can't believe that your message of positivity and, you know, representation and just informing people on something that's so important to you and so close to your heart and something you have to deal with can be then construed as propaganda. That's very, very odd.
And it's not just non-Muslims who hate Islam. It's also some of the Muslims. They get me down. It's so horrible. Like, there's so much. I think something that people don't realize is the Muslim community, like across the world, we're not like this unified force. Like, we don't all think the same things, and we don't even all believe the same things. Like, there is so much division in the Muslim community. Like, you know, your practice of Islam is going to be different depending on what country you're from, what culture you follow. And, you know, there's like all these schools of thought and like different sects and all that kind of thing. So I do get like a lot of Muslims who, you know, will start arguments because they disagree with something that I'm saying, or like this image that I'm giving off. And, you know, that's really divisive as well. Like, they're trying to, like, I've had Muslims tell me to like delete my account and, you know, to stop what I'm doing. And, you know, like, they've accused me of going against God and all that kind of thing. I don't mean to make Muslims sound like fanatics and like they're just crazy religious nuts. Like, you get those crazy people in every group.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and on the internet, like, anybody can hide behind a keyboard. So somebody who might be like not, you know, they don't express these feelings in person, then all of a sudden they get behind a keyboard and they're like, yeah, well, you need to delete this account because what?
Yeah, it's just the anonymity like empowers them, you know. But yeah, and plus social media and the internet, it just kind of amplifies everything. So yeah, I mean, I will say that the majority of Muslims who, you know, are on Muslimic or have interacted on Muslimic, you know, they've been really positive, and they're all about like seeking knowledge and, you know, trying to spread peace and like understanding one another. And that's the same goes for non-Muslims on Muslimic. They're trying to like learn something new and understand and, you know, engage in dialogue. Like, I've had amazing conversations with Christians and atheists and so on. But it's always, you know, there's that minority of non-Muslims as well as Muslims who, you know, just kind of want to watch everything burn. Like, you know, they just want to, like, I don't know where it comes from, if it is like their ego or upbringing or I don't know what, but yeah, there's always those kind of divisive people. So yeah, it's not just non-Muslims that I'm criticizing here. Yeah. I'm also criticizing the Muslims too. Like, we have problems. We have problems in our communities. So,
well, I genuinely believe, and maybe it's too like woo-woo, maybe it's just overly simplistic, but I believe it with my whole heart that the more creative women we get out there, like you, who are willing to say important things and show the world a different perspective through their art, I think it's the world's just gonna continue to be a better place. Because I
really hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I like people. I think most people like to do, I think most people like to lift each other up and stuff. We just get caught up in the BS of little things. So I'm really excited to see where this all takes you.
I'm excited too. I really don't know where it's going. But yeah, I have high hopes for Islamic. It feels fulfilling. I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm not really doing anything at all, but most of the time I feel like I'm doing something good or something productive.
I think you are.
Yeah,
I really think you are.
I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
So before you head out today, I have to ask you the 3 Creative Women's League musts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the first one is, what is one thing that every badass woman should read, watch, or listen to?
I was thinking about this earlier, and I realized how unaccustomed I am to feminine stuff or like female empowerment in the media. So it was really hard to think of something.
It can be EastEnders.
Oh God, no. God. I settled on 1,000 Splendid Suns.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that one?
I don't know that one.
It's a novel. It's by a guy named, what's his name? I think it's Khaled Hosseini. I'm not sure where he's from. I think he's from Afghanistan. And because the book itself is set in Afghanistan, and it kind of follows the lives of women who are living under Taliban rule. Wow. Yeah, it's such an incredible story, and it challenges these notions of the docile and the subservient Muslim women, but also the weakness of women in general. Is so empowering. I actually wouldn't really call myself a feminist. I have so much love for women and female empowerment. And a lot of the people that I follow on social media are women who speak about women's issues and that kind of thing. But I don't often, I don't know, when you think of a feminist and they're really pro-woman.
Yeah, you're only thinking of maybe the negative side, the negative stereotype of feminism.
Well, I don't really see, I don't really feed into the idea that, feminists hate men and all that kind of thing. I think that's ridiculous. And I respect feminists. I really do. And I'm friends with a lot of them, and I follow a lot of them on social media. But because feminism is this specific political movement with its own history, I'm not sure that I identify with it yet. I'm still young. Yeah. I'm still stuck in it. But yeah, so I don't really I don't know, when I do things, when I learn things, it's usually as a Muslim or just as a human being, rather than specifically as a woman seeking female empowerment. So the amazing thing about 1,000 Splendid Suns is it actually appealed to the woman in me, and it really resonated with me as a woman, which is why I mentioned it as a book that women should read. I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah, don't do it.
But if you like women, empowering women, read this book.
Perfect.
The protagonists, they go through these crazy hardships, and it's really sad as well. You probably cry if you read it, because the hardships that they go through is part of reality. So it's to think that these things actually happen, it's really sad. But it's also really inspiring. So,
well, yes, we will all read that one. That sounds awesome. Yeah. And so who's one woman we should all go follow right now?
I'm going to have to say Asma. She's a fellow Instagrammer. She is a feminist. I love her today. She's amazing. Her Instagram tag is Niqabe Chronicles. Should I spell that? Or...
We can put it in the show description. So everybody can just go ahead and click right over and follow her with like 2 clicks.
Amazing. she's one of the most thoughtful women that I've come across since I started Islamic. I know her through Islamic. She's an artist too. She's very political. She's like a hardcore feminist. And at the same time, she's a devout Muslim woman. She wears the niqab, which is the face veil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which, you know, people would see that as like an oxymoron, you know, they view like the niqab especially as like this symbol of oppression for women. And, so I think it's amazing that she's such an outspoken, social reformer, and she fights for women's rights, and, you know, she's all about feminism and representation, but at the same time, like, she wears her niqab, like, just really unapologetically. I love that about her.
Yeah, and we need more feminists let me rephrase that. We need more white feminists to see that, because that is such a huge part of feminism, is choosing your religion and choosing how you're going to, what's the word I'm trying to say? How you're going to practice that religion. Yes,
I completely agree with that. I've actually had confused feminists who have messaged me on Islamic, and this was actually particularly with regards to, you know, that illustration I have, I don't know if you've seen it, of a niqabi, so it's a woman with the face veil on, and she's like rolling her eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And she's rolling her eyes because someone is saying to her, "Let us liberate you." I've had like feminists, and, you know, these are like white feminists. I actually think they've all been from America.
Yeah, I bet.
And I genuinely think that they mean well. You know, to fight for women's rights, I think that's like such a noble thing. So I can't really criticize a person for that. But I've had these women who are feminists. They say that they struggle to support things like the hijab because they are feminists, because they see the hijab as the symbol of oppression.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think they mean well. Like, I genuinely don't think that they're trying to attack me, you know, as a Muslim woman. Like, they're open to dialogue, and I really respect that, you know, they voice their concerns and then they have that conversation with me so they can understand what the hijab or the niqab or any kind of religious veil actually means to Muslim women. Like, it's not the way, you know, the West typically views it. Like, it's not a way of like controlling women or shaming women. And I actually I do post about the hijab. I think recently I posted a couple, and they're really long captions. So if anyone listening to this is interested to learn about what the hijab means, then, like, those are a couple of my recent posts.
I think everybody should go browse your Instagram, because, like I said, I've learned a lot from it. I had a friend when I was in middle school who was Muslim, and that was my only exposure ever to it, was that she couldn't hang out with me because it was Ramadan. But I didn't know, I didn't know anything about it. You know, we weren't, she ended up moving, and we weren't friends long enough for me to have any real exposure to it. So it's been awesome to see.
How old were you guys?
We were in middle school. So I was in like 7th grade.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that that not the same. I was, probably 12. Yeah.
12. Oh, so it's like year 8 for us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was like 11 or 12, somewhere in there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really young. I mean, yeah, I mean, she probably wasn't able to teach you much about Islam anyway. And,
No, and I think it was a part because we were in a community where I stood out like a sore thumb, and I was a white girl, but I was taller than everybody. I was bigger than everybody. So I just think she was trying her best to assimilate.
What was your community?
We were in Colorado, and it was just a neighborhood that was full of full of girls who were like 5 feet tall and blonde and really perfect looking. And they all shopped at Abercrombie. And here I am like 6 inches taller than everybody. I'm bigger than everybody. Like I stood out like a sore thumb. So I think at that point she wasn't in a place where she wanted to like celebrate her Muslim background. She was more like, let's not talk about it. Let's pretend I'm not different than everybody. Let's just get over this.
I can relate to that so much. I went through that whole like identity crisis thing when I was younger. Because, I always say like I'm British because that's the only culture that I really feel like I can fully identify with. Because, I was born here, I grew up here. But my parents are Pakistani.
Okay.
So, but like I can't speak the language. I don't wear the cultural clothes. I think the most cultural I usually get is I wear, have you heard of henna or mendi? Yeah, like the decoration kind of thing on your hand. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
But, that's probably as cultural as I get. And yeah, when I was growing up, I hated the fact that I was a Pakistani. I hated it. Like, I hated that my mom had an accent. The clothes were embarrassing. The language was ugly. I always loved the food, but, like most other teenagers, I was having this kind of identity crisis. So yeah, I completely get where you're coming from, especially when you're saying that she probably didn't want to, like, amplify the fact that she was a Muslim and talk about that kind of thing, because it is difficult when you're that young and you feel like you don't fit in with anyone and all you want to do is fit in. So yeah, I get that, but of course, like, when you get older, that kind of goes away.
I think that's great.
Yeah, like I learned to appreciate my ethnic culture and I feel enriched because of it. Now, I think Urdu is one of the most beautiful languages I have ever heard, and I want to learn it so badly.
Yeah. Do it. So we have one more question to ask, which is, what is one mantra, quote, or affirmation that you lean on often?
I actually have 2.
Oh, I love it.
I'm about to speak Arabic, but I will translate. So the first and most important one, it's one that I recite like almost every night before I go to sleep. And that's La ilaha illallah Muhammadun rasul. That's known as the Shahada, which is like the declaration of faith for Muslims. It means there is no God but God and Muhammad is his messenger. And I feel like saying that, because, Islam is such a huge part of my identity, it's like a constant reminder to me of my faith, and like it makes me feel really secure when I say it, and it kind of calms me down. And like, I don't know if I'm explaining it well, or if like anyone can even relate to that.
No, I think it's important. It just kind of like solidifies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, solidifies my identity.
Yeah.
And again, like I have another sort of prayer, I guess, that I think of like every so often. And that's Inna lillahi wa inna Illayhi raji'un. That means to God we belong and to him we shall return. I think that's haunting.
Yeah.
To God we belong and to him we shall return. It's like a reminder of how fleeting this life is, and it's a reminder of who I exist for. And I don't know if I sound like a religious nut, but I mean this in like the purest sense.
No, we've had people quote the Bible and other religious texts, so yeah, no.
I just feel like, by reminding myself that I belong to God and I'll eventually return to him, I'm reminding myself that I'm here for a reason. Like, it's kind of the same thing that I do with Islamic. Like, I remind myself I'm on this platform for a reason, and that's what helps me to be patient with people. Yeah. So I feel like the reason that I'm here in general is just to always remember God and to do good in this life. You know, I need to be good and do good. And like, there's kind of another angle to this. It's also really humbling because that's the exact prayer that Muslims recite when they hear that a person has died. So they say, to God we belong and to him we shall return. So yeah, like, that's just like, you know, reminding yourself that we're only here for a short time. So don't feel sad that a person has left, because, you know, we believe in the afterlife. So we don't think that this is it. Like, when you die, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, when I'm feeling sad, or like I'm mad at some racist guy commenting, like I'm losing my temper, or like I'm in whatever bad state I'm in, it helps to remember that prayer and remind myself that I'm here for a reason. I'm not here for a very long time, so I better not get distracted by anything that isn't worth my time, you know, which includes just getting mad over this petty stuff. Yeah. Which, you know, some ignorant person decides to spout because they're bored. So yeah, definitely those two sort of prayers are things that I recite often.
Well, that is awesome. And thank you so much for being here with us today. This has been a lot of fun chatting with you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad you got over the nervousness and you showed up with us today. And yes. This is going to be a great episode. Everybody's really going to love it. So before you leave, tell everybody where to find you.
So I'm only on Instagram.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Go check the 40 posts.
Yes. So that's Muslimic on Instagram. But if anyone wants to get in touch, you can email me. My email address is in my bio.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Asma. I'm trying to make sure I say your name correctly every time.
Yeah, no, Asma.
Asma. I have had a great time, and I'm just so excited. We're going to have you come to a road trip.
Yes. Looking forward to that. Yay. I'm waiting for the email to drop.
Perfect. Perfect. I really love following Asma. I've learned more about Ramadan from her than I ever knew otherwise. I also think it's really important to have your eyes open to what other people are facing, not just in this country or in her country of the UK, but all over the world. It helps you spot the signs of things that maybe we should be stepping in on or helping people circumvent. And what's so funny to me is that Asma says that her drawings are very basic. And I just call such BS on that. I went back through her Instagram feed just now. I have basic drawing skills. And I could not accomplish what she has done on her phone, making these awesome little comics. So thank you so much, Asma. I really appreciate you being on the show. I don't doubt that you have loved this episode. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave a review. Don't forget to include your Instagram name so that I can give you a shout out right here on the podcast. And of course, I will see you Monday. By Monday, we will have our first blog post out. So I hope you will have read that. And I hope you'll be joining us on Instagram at Creative Women's League. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love ya. Mwah. you're still here? It's over. Go home.